So that's some, very brief overview of the Harvard Forest. I'm going to pivot now to talk specifically about our summer research program in ecology for undergraduates. So we've had core funding from the National Science Foundation REU program since 1993. So it's a really long-running program. And the program has grown along with the Harvard Forest long-term ecological research program. So, from the point of view of a student, you would know that you're an integral part of the long-term ecological research that we do. Students are not just a research engine that keep core studies moving forward. It's really, we structure our student and mentor research teams with multiple mentors and students, and that gives scientists a chance to try out new projects and collaborations and gives students the opportunity to learn, how team science works. And we emphasize projects that leverage these ecological networks that I mentioned so that our place-based research connects to larger questions and communities. Seeing that I'm speaking at a seeds gathering, we do have a long-standing partnership with ESA Seeds, and we fund one student each year to participate as a research fellow and present work at the annual Ecological Society of America meeting. So our goal is to provide and foster experiential place-based learning. So what does this look like? Research, education, and community are integral to our program's success in doing research, becoming a scientist, and building a more diverse profession. So research, here's maybe what you might originally think of as an image of an ecologist, someone immersed in their study system, but ecology is usually more of a team sport. Here are students and mentors collaborating in the field. We have more lab-based projects and some modeling and computational research as well. So together, the students and mentors share skills and perspectives and learn how to work as a team. And every student presents a research talk and our end of program summer symposium. So really building to that kind of major research communication is a nice summit to the program. We help you get there with educational programming that guides you through the research process from reading background literature, writing a research proposal, analyzing and visualizing data, some basics of how to use R, and how to communicate your work effectively. And many of our students also go on to present their work at regional and national meetings. This is me a few years ago with a summer student at a National Council for Undergraduate Research conference. And just this past August, I was at the National Ecological Society of America meeting, and 5 of our alums from the year before were presenting their research at the meeting. So that was super awesome. We also have professional development workshops like our annual career panel, and that helps you all think about through your possible futures. We try to emphasize both academic and non-academic career paths. And students practice being scientists. Students take turns hosting seminar speakers and participate in team meetings like this is a journal club from a couple of years ago. Community is also really important. We have about 20 undergraduates in our program every year, and students form lasting friendships and a support network, which is really important as you navigate graduate school and careers. And so there's connections around the campfire, on weekend trips around the region, and with the larger Harvard Forest community as well. So, we really strive to welcome everyone to find their own place at the table. So here's my pitch to learn more and apply for our 2025 program. The basics are, it's an 11-week paid internship. The dates this year are May 27th, so the day right after Memorial Day, through August 8th. And it's paid so that, you know, we recognize that for most students, making money over the summer is really a critical part of making undergraduate education work. So we pay $700 a week stipend, as well as providing full room and board and travel to and from the Harvard Forest. And I'm going to pause. And what are we looking for? Here's a little bit of advice. So you might think, oh my gosh, you know, I need to have all this prior experience for me to be competitive in applying. That's not necessarily true. What we're really looking for are students with the potential to make the greatest gains, not necessarily students who already have lots of experience. So let's say, you know, here, you know, you might be here on the kind of, not much experience. There might be another student who has more experience at the beginning of the summer. And perhaps over that summer, you know, they make this much gain. But starting here, you might make this much gain. And that's what we're really looking for, is the biggest gain. How do we evaluate that? We ask for a personal statement, and we're especially excited by statements that illustrate why a student has that potential and why the projects and program that we offer is a good fit. Let's see, we also ask for a resume. We ask for relevant courses, but there is no transcript required and no minimum GPA. So, and finally, recommendation letters are really important. So get to know your faculty members, and that will benefit you in many ways, but one very practical way is that you would get a stronger and more personal recommendation letter when you apply for opportunities. And I just want to let you know that Harvard Forest is just one opportunity. There are many research experience for undergraduate program opportunities across the United States every summer. So, depending on where you want to be and what you're particularly interested in, I'm going to just show you, see if I can navigate to some of these windows. For example, the Long-Term Ecological Research Network, nearly every site, and there are about 27 sites in all sorts of different ecosystems. All of those sites offer at least 2 REU positions every year. It's sort of built into the grant. And some of the sites, like us, have much larger programs that, for example, funded by REU Site Grant that can host, like 10 additional students and other funding opportunities. So depending on, so here is if you just Google LTR network, there is a page on undergraduate research opportunities. Right now, there's nothing much to see. Because a lot of these are, for the 2024 season, which has just passed. But I would say that starting in, November through March, really kind of depending on the site, is when you would find out about different opportunities at these LTR sites. So you can see that, last year, there were some marine ones. Hubbard Brook is our friendly forest site neighbor to our north. Coastal ecosystems, yeah, all sorts of different types of ecosystems. Let's see if I can get, all right. You can also explore REU programs across the country. And I'll send the slides so those will have the links you can look at later. But if you go to the NSF website for information for students, you can actually search a directory of REU sites. So I kind of tested this out ahead of time because sometimes there's kind of a lot of layers to navigate through. So you're all ecologists, so you can search by ecology and get a bunch of different sites. Actually, this one I know very well. One of my colleagues at Harvard University runs this program. It's awesome. But you can see that they're, Arizona, Ohio, Missouri, Montana, Brooklyn. Oh, yeah. So, everything from urban ecology to marine ecology. There are lots of different opportunities there. And then finally, how do you do this application? One thing that changed in the last year or two is the National Science Foundation has rolled out this new kind of common application platform for many different opportunities, actually not just REU. So this is how you would apply to our program and how you would apply to many other programs. The good news, okay, so there's like good news, bad news. I found this portal to be a little cumbersome to work with, and just, we started using it last year. And one of the things as an applicant, the very first thing you're gonna need to do is create an account, and I'm not going to walk you through that, but it does ask you kind of almost an egregiously large amount of demographic and background data. So make sure to set aside a little time when you do that account creation to get that done. The good news is that you only have to do that once. And then when you sign in, that just automatically populates any of the opportunities that you apply for. Good news, bad news. Again, sort of like a college common application, there are some pieces of applications that are typically the same, like you might want to upload your resume. The bad news again is that, there are usually some specific questions and prompts for each of the programs that you're interested in applying. And that, for me, that's really important because I want to know why a student is applying to this program in particular. So it helps. It's definitely streamlines if you're interested in applying into a few select programs. And I suggest that you do, because it is, pretty competitive to be selected for any one of them. But it also, I think that finding whatever the right balance is for you of applying for the number of programs that you can sort of put a little argument forward to whoever's doing the selection that you're truly excited about the specific opportunities, while balancing, giving yourself a few different options, I think is my advice. Through the eTap, you can search opportunities as well. If you're looking for REU programs in particular, though, at this point, at least at this point in the year, I think that the NSF site is way more thorough at this point, because the eTap only lists opportunities where applications are open currently. So if you're thinking ahead, to what do I want to do next summer, many of those applications aren't yet open. So probably this probably would be a good place to do some research, but it certainly wouldn't be a full set of like REU opportunities. So I think that this is probably a good place to start for your background research. Okay, so back to sharing this screen. So that is sort of an overview of some of those ways to find different opportunities. But I'm going to end here with hey, but I really want you to consider my opportunity at the Harvard Forest. This QR code will take you to a place, a Google sheet, where you can just enter your name and email and get on a mailing list so that you'll get information when our application system opens for our 2025 program. So just different REU programs have different windows of having their applications open. Ours will have our application system will open December 9th. And at that time, our website will be updated with the links to eTap, what the application requirements are, although those don't change much year to year. As well as an up-to-date list of research projects and mentors that we will be offering for 2025. So, one of the things we're doing this fall is meeting with potential mentors and coming up with, what projects will we be running next year. So that's basically what I wanted to share with you. I'll leave this up for as long as people want, and happy to pivot to answering any questions that any of you have. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Audrey. That was very, very informational. Like she said, does anyone have any questions, virtually or in person? If not, someone does have a question.
Yeah, so let's see. Can recommendation letters come from research position or, oh yeah, sorry, that absolutely. People who know you well, it does not just have to be a professor. If you've had if you had a summer job working for the Forest Service or as a field technician, or did any sort of thing like that, that's fantastic people to be recommenders. If you worked in a lab but primarily worked with a graduate student, it is totally fine to have the graduate student write you a letter of recommendation. I would say, someone who understands a bit about what you would be getting into for research would be good, but beyond that, more importantly, someone who knows you and your skills well. So, we ask for 2 recommendation letters. So sometimes it's nice to have a balance of, someone who's a professor from your home school or your home institution. And then, perhaps, there's another faculty or lab person there that you would get your second letter from. That's great. But a second letter from a job you have had or research, experience elsewhere that you've had, those are great.
We did have some previous question submissions from the RSVP form, so I'm going to read those out. Someone asked, if I have been involved in an REU in the past, am I a valid candidate for this opportunity?
So it depends. It depends on the program. For us, it is not disqualifying if you have participated in an REU program before, but we do prioritize, we have like a whole rubric of ranking the applications, and we do prioritize students who have not yet had the opportunity to participate in an REU. Because our program, we have about 20 students and most of them are funded through REU funding, but some of them aren't. We have a little more flexibility than there are some programs that cannot accept students who have already had an REU experience. So just kind of check the program website. Are positions available to all years? Oh, yeah. Yes, they are. So basically, the positions are available to anyone who is enrolled in college currently and will still be enrolled as an undergraduate the following fall. So if you're graduating in May 2025, then sadly you are not eligible for this or most REU programs. But you can look in eTap and NSF. There are some post-baccalaureate programs that you can take a look at. I would say that in most REU programs, people who are rising juniors and seniors tend to form the majority of the participants, but we have rising sophomores in our program every year. So don't let that deter you if you're a first year student.
We had another question that said, are you aware of any fees to apply or any dues for accepted applicants?
No, there shouldn't, certainly not in our program, and there should not ever be a fee to apply to an REU program.
Cool. And one last question says, what is the most important thing I should include in my application?
Ooh, the most important thing to include in your application is somewhere a really clear statement of why the program you're applying to is exciting to you and what you hope to get out of the summer. I mean, that is definitely the number one thing. Certainly, describing your academic and research background, which does not need to be extensive. If you can, just sort of demonstrate that you know enough that you know kind of what you'd be getting into, that's fine. But really, yeah, showing why you're excited.
Awesome. Oh, we do have a question here.
I had a question. It was, is the research done through REU more individualized, or is it something that's already been previously established that it's a collaborative effort to work on?
So I think I heard the question, are the research projects something that the student comes up with themselves, or is it something that students plug into that's already established? I would say that varies among programs. And within our program, it's something of a balance. So 11 weeks, and most REU programs are even shorter, is a really short amount of time to start something from scratch. So what we usually have in our program is an overall project that's pretty set, and ties in with the mentor's research interests. However, and so there's usually kind of a core question and data set to use or collect. But within that, I often have, students who take those data and, everyone writes a research proposal. And so everyone has the opportunity to be creative and come up with their own hypothesis about the data. And often if there's some small amount of data that could be added to what we're already, going out to do, that really floats your boat, that we've often made that happen as well.
Any other questions? All right, well, I think that would conclude our session. I want to thank again Audrey for joining us today. She said that she included her information somewhere.
Oh, did I'll put it in the chat right now.
Okay. And yes, and I'll also send a follow-up email to everyone that RSVP'd, and I'll send you the information about this QR code and the PowerPoint that she included here in the presentation today. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and have a good rest of your day.